Welcome to another edition of the Nightly News. Ted, I'm sure that you watched some of the interrogation that went on with the committee up there in Washington, D.C., where they were asking, I believe his name was Chris Cox from Facebook, getting grilled by Josh Hawley, senator from the state of Missouri, about the collusion that went on between the Biden White House and big tech.
Do you think it's appropriate to work with the United States government to target private individual speech that is constitutionally protected?
Senator, I'm not aware of that.
Well, let me educate you. On July 16th, 2021, an employee at Facebook wrote to the Department of Health and Human Services saying, and I quote, "I know our teams met today to better understand the scope of what the White House expects from us on misinformation going forward." On July 23rd, 2021, a Facebook employee thanked HHS, quote, "for taking the time to meet earlier today and wanted to make sure you saw the steps we just took this past week to adjust policies and what we are removing with respect to misinformation. This included," and I'm still quoting, "increasing the strength of our demotions for COVID and vaccine-related content." On April 7th, 2021, a Facebook employee thanked the CDC for responding to misinformation queries, and I quote, "We'll get moving now to be able to remove all but that one claim as soon as the announcement and authorization happens." On July 28th of this year, a Facebook employee reached out to CDC about, quote, "doing a monthly misinfo debunking meeting." The CD responded, "Yes, we would love to do that." Sure they would. On July 20th, 2021, Clark Humphrey at the White House, who's digital director of the COVID-19 response team, emailed Dave Sumner at your company, among others, asking any way we can get this pulled down, and cited a specific Instagram account. Within 46 seconds, your company responded and said, "Yep, on it." That sounds like what in the law we call a pattern and practice of meeting, coordinating, and colluding with the United States government to target particular speech that no one in any of these emails alleges is incitement, which would not be constitutionally protected. No one in any of these emails alleges it directly encourages violence, which would not be constitutionally protected. So it appears to all be constitutionally protected speech on, I might add, very politically sensitive topics that Facebook is directly working with the U.S. government to target and remove. Is that your company policy to do this kind of thing?
Senator, we were quite public about our cooperation with health organizations during the unprecedented time of COVID.
It's really startling, but the end result was Chris Cox, on behalf of Facebook, admitted that there was collusion to thwart the First Amendment rights of a lot of Americans, but he justified it because it was for a greater good. Ted, that is so scary. I don't even know what to think. Our listeners want to know what you think, though.
Well, that's right out of the communist playbook. That's right out of Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky, where they can cripple truth, logic, and common sense and freedom and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness by censoring people who fight for, exercise, and preach truth, logic, and common sense. When you censor a segment of society who is about God, family, country, Constitution, Bill of Rights, being the best that you can be. But that's really not what the First Amendment protects. The First Amendment, it was proven in the Hustler magazine thing, the court system, that the First Amendment is about protecting the most offensive speech, the most friendly speech, the most uncommon speech. So what finally the truth came out that they're admitting they're censoring and denying First Amendment rights, which I think is against the law. The U.S. Constitution is the foundation of our law. I'm telling you, this is a pivotal moment where when I first started out on Facebook years ago, I don't think they really knew enough about Ted Nugent yet, because you know that during the I guess it was in the 2000s, you know that I had between 25 million and 36 million reach on Facebook. And then the big tech America haters finally figured out that I was a truth, logic, and common sense guy. So I went from 36 million to 3.6 million overnight. And now even with 3.6 million on Facebook, they reduce it to 15. Not 15 million, not 1,500, 15. Sometimes I'll make a statement that is irrefutably true, and they'll censor it and suppress it down to a couple dozen people. Yep. So big tech, here's a word from Good Families of America, big tech. You people suck. Your fact checkers are psychopathic liars. Your fact checking is dishonest, and it's against the law, and it's against the First Amendment, and it trounces freedom of speech. Shame on you, idiots at Facebook and big tech. You're bad, bad people. Because when you suppress freedom of speech, you're anti-human. You're anti-American. You're a voice and a power of communism for the greater good. And big tech hates the Constitution. I think those that are involved in the power of big tech, I think they look at the Constitution as toilet paper. I think we should look at them as toilet paper.
Well, Ted, you say it many, many times. The only way we're going to fix this problem is we become vocal and we vote. Go to hunternation.org and go to huntthevote.org. And while you're at hunternation.org, make sure you sign up for the Hunt with Ted and Shemaine Nugent, and put in the notes section that you found out about Hunter Nation from the Nightly Nuge, and you may win one of these incredible hats from Ted Nugent. I will not comply, which we shouldn't. Ted, tomorrow I want to talk about Bill Maher and him kind of taking the gloves off, and he's just not taking any trash from these liberals anymore.
You know, Keith, I think old Bill Maher, I was on his politically incorrect TV show 16 times, and I owned the air in the room, I promise you. But it looks like Bill Maher might be listening to the Nightly Nuge, the Ted Nugent Real America's Voice Spirit Campfire, and he might even be watching Ted Nugent's Spirit of the Wild television, because old Bill Maher is having an awakening of truth, logic, and common sense, and he's really making a lot of sense these days. Let's talk about it.